So it's spring, it's selling season. People are listing their homes. And it's funny you bring this up, Ted, because I just had a situation like this happen yesterday. 5 siblings, 3 of them out of state. Are we going to get hit with the Rhode Island 6% withholding tax with the trusts? I don't know if you want to hit that one first. How's that work? What happens?
So, like, for example, that one particular, situation that you have there with multiple siblings, it's typically an estate. Usually that's what it is. And when you have an estate that's selling a property, and there's, after the probate is completed, so that's one of the first hurdles you need to cross over, make sure that that the title is vested now in these kids, or whoever, the heirs were. Then they go and are able to sell it. Well, if they're out of state residents, we in Rhode Island have this thing called the withholding, call it a tax, where it's a percentage of the of what the gain is going to be on the transaction. So if you've got 5 people, you essentially just divide the proceeds, the net proceeds, by 5, and then for the out-of-staters, you take a 6% of that portion off the top. Now, there may not be a gain. If there's no gain, there's no tax, but so it's a case by case thing, and you have to evaluate every time you have a closing transaction. But there's a good one right there. What happens if, let's say, it's a husband and wife, and one of these parties passed away? Well, the vesting on a husband and wife is with survivorship, meaning that the survivor takes the whole interest. Yep. But there is their inheritance tax release that needs to be filed for the deceased person. And that is a statute of limitations that lasts for 10 years. So 10 years from the death, you still have to do it. 11 years from the death, you don't need to do it anymore. Even though that husband or that wife that as the sole survivor now, has full ownership of that property, the inheritance tax release application has to be filed with the Division of Taxation. So there's time involved. Usually, they won't do it. They don't turn it on a dime. So it might take 4 to 6 weeks to get something like that back. So these are all, you have to plan ahead on a sale. The other thing I want to mention is on repairs, repair escrows. If let's say, and we deal with this all the time, Emilio, there's situations where, okay, the inspection is done, buyer doesn't like a few things, so the seller commits to making the repairs versus a credit at the sale, and then the repairs aren't made, and then you come to or the repairs are made but they're not done to the buyer's satisfaction. If you're going to commit to making the repairs, my advice is make them right and do it with a licensed guy if they have to be, like electrical or plumbing or something like this, because if you don't do it, it's going to bite you, and you don't want to be bitten, not at the closing, because the bite is really going to be a holdback, and then the holdback gets tricky, because now it's a question of, okay, you had your bite at the apple to try to get it done right. You didn't do it right. So now it's my turn to hire my guy and do it. And now it's a different set of rules, right? I mean, the buyer's going to do it with his contract, a different price point, so you might not like what you get. So you're better off just hiring your own guy and doing it if you're going to commit to doing it at all.